So Courtney and Paul, thank you again so much for your time. I feel like you've really been on the journey. I guess I should use this mic. Is this working? No. Yes? So thank you so much, Courtney and Paul. I feel like you've been on the journey with us. And Sunil, I don't know if you remember, but I first met you on the side of McCombs Dam Field across from Yankee Stadium on a cold day, and was thrilled. I was standing on the side with the president of U.S. Soccer watching a U16 boys game. And I went home and called up my dad, because I went to the '94 World Cup with him and been along this journey, and told him who I was with. And I won't tell you what he said, but it was amazing. So thank you so much. And lastly, I really want to thank who I think has been our best MC ever. No offense to Roger Bennett or Jimmy Conrad or Kyle Martino. So let's give a big round of applause for Meredith. And Meredith, you're not missing out. You got one of the Fire jerseys too. One more round of applause, one more time. Thank you, Meredith. So it's been a long journey over 10 years since we first started on the corner of a baseball field, literally dodging baseballs. And actually, those people in back, you won't offend me. If you want to walk across this side of the room, there's a lot of space over there. There's a TV in back too. So your feet are getting tired. It's okay. You can walk across. And I want to recognize there's 5 people, aside from me, only 5 people in this room that have been here all 10 years. So I want to shout them out. John Asadi, when I first I was playing pickup soccer with him and said, hey, you should be on the board of this organization I'm starting. He had no idea what he was getting to, and I hope he doesn't regret it too much. So big round of applause for John Asadi. Second, our board chair, former board chair, longtime board member, signed up on Idealist, thought he was going to help fill out some registration forms to give a chance for kids to play soccer, maybe drive a few to a game. So Dave Hahn, right there, since year 1. This next person went from a coach our first year to a tutor, to a mentor, to a photographer, really did whatever he wanted. Tenzin Yashay, where's Tenzin? And where's, this guy's been a coach all the way. I think every kid in our program knows about him. He's coached everyone on the boys' side, on the girls' side, on the men's side now. We have a men's team. George Nantwi. And last but not least, the person who helped me get started at South Bronx, I wouldn't be here without her, my wife and co-founder, Steph. I was told that the On Fire jerseys ran out, but I'm going to find a way to get everyone of you 5 a jersey. I'm going to call up Lucas from Ten's Club. If you didn't know, he made those. So the journey of South Bronx over the past 10 years has proven the power of soccer, but I think even more so it's proven the power of providing at-risk, immigrant, and underestimated youth with a support network and an opportunity. That's really what we've been doing. And when I think about the past 10 years, I think about the stories. I think about one young man, when I first started, I was teaching at a school called New Day Academy in Morrisania. This was 2009, and a couple of my students came up and said, hey, there's this new student here. I think he just came from Germany, and he's Nigerian. You think he'll play soccer with us? And I said, German, Nigerian, awesome. Let's get him on the field. And he did not disappoint. He was an amazing player on the field, a Yai. But he had a challenge, manage his emotions. He had a challenge trying to figure out how to turn his charisma and intelligence and use it for good and not mischief. And he was also had a challenge as an unconventional dreamer, not the typical profile you think as a dreamer. But we were able to work with him. He was able to work with us to get his legal permanent residency. 10 years later, he's graduated from St. Lawrence University and has a degree in economics. I think of another individual. He actually happens to be here. He arrived at 16 years old from the Ivory Coast, speaking no English. He attended a school that was on the verge of closing, failing school, and then 2 years later, his father was deported. He attended tutoring to work on his English. We helped him change his school to go somewhere that would accept his credits from the Ivory Coast because his first school did not. And we worked with an attorney to at least grant him asylum status. So even though he couldn't be with his father, at least he could be here. And he was able to go to college. And now, years later, he's working as an engineer for the New York City Power Authority. He has a degree in electrical engineering and computer science, and is doing night classes to work on a master's degree, Kafumba. Right there. I also think of Delmy, who was born in Guatemala, raised in the Bronx, joined our first ever girls soccer team. She received a scholarship while playing with us to go upstate to play soccer at a junior college. She came back to New York City to finish her 4-year degree, and then ended up working with South Bronx United through the AmeriCorps program. She came onto our staff. And this is where Meredith really built up her public speaking chops, because she presented Delmy with a Coach of the Year award at the Up to Us Sports Gala several years ago. And now Delmy is going back to get a graduate degree in sports-based youth development and working with one of our partner organizations, AmeriCorps. She started thinking she would be an accountant, and now she wants to stay in the field, working with youth on the soccer field. So we can't take credit for anything that these youth, for their accomplishments, but we did provide an opportunity and support that was missing. I don't think they'd be where they were today without South Bronx United. This year, we placed or kept more youth than ever on this path to success. In 2019, we've served over 1,200 young people. Members of this year's SBU Academy graduating class are well on their way. They have college-ready rates more than 3 times the South Bronx average. All but one graduate on time, and all the graduates are now in college. But we have students at Fordham University, Boston College, Kenyon College, Stony Brook University. But the one student that stands out to me most is a student going to Mohawk Valley Community College. And the reason, he came to us when he was 12 years old. He read at a 2nd grade reading level. He went to a school, a self-contained a school for students with special needs in District 75. I don't know if there's other educators in the room, but you know that a student in District 75, often the prospects are really grim. But now, here we are, several years later. He's at Mohawk Valley Community College, studying sports management, playing on the soccer team. We're really excited about him, and it's not something he would have dreamed of, or his family, or everyone thought college was in line for him. I think about some of the things we've accomplished this year. Our board this year decided to provide funding for a scholarship to make sure every single SBU Academy graduate will get a scholarship of some amount for college. It's amazing, whether that's for tuition or books, with the goal to make sure that none of our graduates drop out for financial reasons. We started a Career Mentors program. I think we have some in the room that are working with our college students, our alumni, to make sure that they have the skills and tools and the connections, because that's what it is, the connections to succeed after they get out of college. We sent 5 young women to France for the Women's World Cup for Festival 19. They watched the women's final. They watched the women take home the final, but not just that. They were in a youth leadership conference while they were there, building skills, talking about gender equity, female empowerment, and they brought that back to the Bronx and ran a day for over 100 youth right across from Yankee Stadium called Football for Equality. Just today, we had 2 staff that just got off I don't know if it's bus or train, but they came back from Washington, D.C., attending a Play Proud training to figure out how South Bronx United, can become a safer space for LGBTQ youth. We've grown our recreational program, our Global Youth League, our SBU Community Schools program as well, to ensure that more youth have opportunities to play, and that all their families are aware of our immigration screens and workshops that we provide. But the needs are still here as much as ever. And I think about some of the stories that show the trauma that a lot of our youth face. Whether that's a couple fathers have been detained or deported by ICE, or really heartbreaking, a girl in our program who witnessed her grandmother murdered in front of her. We have to be there to support with social work and counseling, providing the connections, providing know your rights sessions, but really providing that family that we can be for any youth. So when those things come up, they know there's someone that will be there for them. What also gnaws at me is those youth that came to our program, but even though we have about 90% stick with our program every year, but those that didn't stay with us. And I think about what more could we have done, and could it be more resources? I think about a young man I coached our first year, 10 years ago in 2009, had so much promise on the field, was also the joker of the team, made everyone smile. But another student came to me the other day and said he's seen him and he's consumed by drugs and having a lot of trouble and not sure what lies in his future. Or I think about a young man who was with us from 5th grade to 9th grade, and just this year, he died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. His name was Mohammed Toure. These are the youth that we have to figure out how to do more. I think about the youth that we haven't even reached yet, the hundreds that are still on our wait list, or those that don't even know about South Bronx United because we're not in their neighborhoods yet. We haven't brought programs to their community. How can we expand? How can we grow to serve them? When people ask me, what's next for South Bronx? I say, is it Chicago United? It's San Francisco United? And I say, no, we need to do more in the South Bronx, because until all the youth have the same opportunities that I had growing up, we're not done. So we have so much more work to do where we're at right now. The next 10 years, our impact has to continue to grow. We have to reach more youth. We have to expand our programs, strengthen our services, to transform lives, strengthen our community, and benefit this city. So we need your help. And by being here tonight, you're all already part of our journey. There are 3 things that you can do more. First, you can become a champion of South Bronx United, or a champion of our cause, the cause that we stand up for. That means tomorrow at work or this weekend with your friends, talk about South Bronx United. Tell them about the event that you went to. Tell them about the stories that you heard. Tell them about the youth that you met. We have some of our seniors here tonight. You can join the team. You can volunteer. You can become a mentor. You can become a coach. We have a few openings on staff. Talk to us about joining the board or partner. Find a way to partner with our organization. And third, you can invest. You can invest in social impact. Invest in making this city and making the community better, making the world better. Invest in these programs that are only made possible by institutions and individuals like yourself. So I hope that my words have helped convince you a bit. But if not, we have one last story. One last story that I want to share. One story that I think is emblematic as well of our past 10 years. So I'm going to give the floor over to her, but first, let's take a look at the screens.